Up that ball. What was the first thought? I mean, you had a feeling it was good, but what was your first thought when you actually got barrel on it?
Um, the
Going out.
the last one. Honestly, not really. I kind of just stuck my bat out there and made contact, and right off the bat, I kind of knew it was gone. But then after that point, I was just excited to get back to home for my team. Then got attacked after that. But yeah.
You mentioned Maxwell. Would you compare it to any of the power pitchers you guys have faced? You haven't faced a lot of power lefties, other than maybe Brooke, quite honestly.
Yeah.
So is there a power lefty or any lefty you compare it to?
I think Mariah Lopez from Utah is a very good left-handed pitcher that any left-handed pitcher that we get to see throughout the season sets us up to see more left-handers later on in the season. So just taking what we know from facing those lefties and applying it to her. Obviously, every pitcher is different, so we'll get to scout her later this week and see what we got to do.
Tara had mentioned kind of the validation, being able to play Arkansas again, and actually win. And as James kind of mentioned, you'll have that opportunity again with Oklahoma State. Is there any validation that you guys are kind of looking for to kind of attest your being there?
Yeah, I mean, this weekend was such a fun weekend, but we knew what we were capable of. We knew that was going to happen going into the weekend. It was just a matter of how it was going to happen, when it was going to happen. So obviously our hopes are high going into this next week because we know what we're capable of. And this weekend just kind of solidified everything we already knew. So just keeping the focus on us and staying within us and playing for each other. And I think that'll just carry forward.
Were you able to watch any of the end of the Oklahoma State-Nebraska game at all?
I don't know. We weren't really able to watch any games. It was kind of all hectic afterwards, just trying to get on the plane and get all packed up again. And yeah.
I was curious and if you'd seen it by reference, but Nebraska had scored a couple of runs by wild pitches, and I was just curious if that, like, you're always cognizant if you're a runner on third, you got to be aware, you got to be ready, but it gets underscored that much more of, you just saw it. This is the last game that just happened. This is how a team, like, very nearly forced an if necessary game. Like, just the importance of the quote unquote little things, and those little things could be enormous at this time of year. Does it get kind of more emphasized and just that much underscored this time of the year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, going into this past weekend, we wanted to focusing on the little things because I feel like we kind of got away from that, and then this weekend we were able to get back into that. So that's just what we're going to carry forward into this next week. And I feel like as a team, we're very, very aggressive on the base run, on the base pass. That's something that we take pride in. So that's not going to change moving forward. So again, just sticking to what we do best.
You guys have talked process all season, sticking to the process. And process is kind of like a war, in the individual battles. You may lose the individual battles, but the process kind of, do you feel like this weekend kind of validated that process? You guys had some hiccups throughout the season, but you've stuck with the process, and the process has yielded good results.
Yeah, absolutely. Something I always like to remind myself is sometimes you, sometimes me, always us. And it's just this kind of, if I get the job done, great. But if I don't, then I know the person behind me is going to get it done. And that's kind of the mentality we've had all year, is that 1 through 9, we have the depth, we have the talent, and sometimes it's the bottom of the lineup coming through, sometimes it's the top, and then when we work together, that's when the magic happens. But yeah, we're always there to have each other's back and pick each other up. So
been hanging around Dana Altman a little bit there?
Maybe.
For you, for this team, would you attribute the differences between this team now versus the opening weekend of the season?
Just playing together very, very well. I think we pass information to each other throughout the lineup 1 through 9, and that just has kind of, we've gotten more comfortable doing that and built upon, and our chemistry is at an all-time high right now. We've been on the road for a lot this year, so that's been a huge factor in that, and we're just excited to get back on the road and keep doing what we're doing.
That sort of mantra of the week, fate happens, so redemption will follow. What does it mean to you?
Oh, Tara said that to us right when we got to Arkansas, and it kind of just stuck with all of us. We posted it in the dugout because we just knew that going to Arkansas was what we were meant to do, and I think some people could be frustrated by having to go on the road again, but we just embraced it and knew it was part of our path, and we were excited to get back out there and fix the mistakes that we could have done better the previous year.
Talking about Bunk for a minute, I feel like she gets enough credit.
I think Bunk is one of the most underrated players in the country, so she's one of the best players I've ever gotten to play with. So any credit she gets, she deserves, and she deserves more credit than she's gotten. So
What is the on-field communication like between you and her, just because you're in right field?
Yeah.
So what does that look like in the course of a game? What is that like to learn when you're a freshman and she's the established second baseman, and just that process of the right fielder, second baseman communication all the time?
Yeah, we're constantly communicating depth. When I'm deep, I'm telling her that I'm deep. When she's in, she's telling me that she's in, just so we know how hard to crash on the in-betweeners. But just overall communication, she's a person I know I can go to because she's a right-handed hitter as well, and we have similar plans. So she's always someone we're kind of feeding off of, and she's really good at spreading information and just off the field as a role model as well. She just is one of those people who has her life together in all aspects with school and relations, just everything. So.
Picked up on a pregame that when you guys do all your handshakes and stuff, and there's plenty of joking around going on, but none of you will mess with her. Like, you'll all mess with each other, mess with Tara. You won't mess with her. What is it about Bunk that is it revered, respected, feared? What is it that nobody will mess with her?
I don't think it's any of those things. It's kind of, those handshakes kind of just come about naturally on their own, and we just goof around making those handshakes. I don't think there's any particular reason. I know Bunk has handshakes with a lot of people, but in a game, prior to games, Bunk's a person who's very locked in and has her eyes set and blinders on. So it's nothing about her other than that.
Did you feel like you had to get your offense going because you didn't have a chance to show out your defense like Hannah did, stealing home runs, or Kai did, doing Superman flying again?
Yeah, I feel like I get to miss out on the action sometimes in the outfield because not a lot is hit to right. But no, I just do what I can wherever I'm at. I don't really think about what happens on defense or what happens on offense. I kind of compartmentalize the two and just in the moment do whatever I can.